If you are an avid theatre watcher, or even if you are not, you have probably heard of the play Dekh Behan. On today's episode, we have both the writers of that fully female super hit comedy. Both these ladies are actors, writers, and wear many hats. They've done very well for themselves, and clearly so have I because I'm married to one of them. Dilshad, Tahira, welcome to the show. Dilshad and Tahira, hi, and welcome to this episode
Hello.
of
Hello.
Unscripted with Akarsh, Khurana and Adyam podcast. And
Wow, thanks.
thanks for being here. Y'all don't have to be nervous. This is actually one of the very early conversations I had with Adyam when they offered me this podcast was that it's not a formal structure. I basically want to be paid to hang with people. So I get paid, you all don't. So, so we get paid to hang with people and just chat like normally. So okay, so I actually let's start about something that's actually comfortable for both of you to talk about. Let's talk about Dekh Behan.
Okay.
We'll start with that. We'll ease you into the conversation. So just to give context, Dekh Behan is a play that you wrote 5 years ago. It was a fully female cast and crew, and it has now run for 5 years and done over 105 shows, and it is a monster success. Having produced it myself, I know that it is among our biggest hits. And you have just written and opened a sequel to the show. So let's talk about Dekh Behan. How did that happen? How did Dekh Behan happen with you guys? You know, the right, and you'll have written it, and you're also acting in it. So a little bit about that. Like, how did that happen? How did it start? It's your favorite story. You'll love telling why.
Yeah, it's
You'll
our favorite story.
So
Tara will say.
We basically were doing this play called Bayan, which was short pieces about women, and we were all having a lot of fun, and we wanted to basically write Bayan Part 2.
right.
Yeah, and get the same bunch of girls together, have a little bit more fun, and also get cast in a play because our producer never used to cast us.
So you're saying that there were bad roles for women in the theater at that
No,
point.
not
Is that
for
what you're
women,
bringing
just
up?
for us.
So the two of you.
Not bad roles, no roles.
There were no roles. You all were not acting in any plays, AK Veras or
Actually, it had been a
otherwise.
while.
So,
It had been a
yeah.
while.
It had been a while. Okay,
Yeah,
Just
okay.
Bayan actually.
Just Bayan.
At that time.
Okay. And all the plays before that you've done don't count, but sure.
But
okay.
that time counts,
So,
na?
Yeah, we
okay.
were talking about the 5 years prior to that.
Sure. Okay. So Bayan, and you all wrote Bayan as well.
No.
No.
There were pieces that you all had performed, but you all kind of so carry on.
But it was just fun. It was just fun being in a room full of girls, and even if they were short pieces and they were not attached to each other, it was just fun, like to hang, have that little bit of estrogen in the room, and go out and do this play which would make people laugh. And we traveled with it. We went to Goa, we went to Baroda, and those trips were great fun. So it just felt like a really nice space to explore further.
Right.
And then, of course, we got this idea from our producer that we should write a full length instead of trying to write more snippets. And that's how we reached this all women cast and Dekh Behan.
Yeah.
You want to add to that?
No.
No, but okay. So
So,
couple
yeah,
of
it
questions.
was-
All right. So no, I mean, because I was involved in the process. So just a little bit of. So yes, of course. I mean, you're right. Bayan happened, and there was a piece in that called Santa's Little Call Girls, which was written by Apurva Kale,
That's
and that was one like crazy fun piece. And I think that we had been doing it much before Bayan as well. We had opened it for the Prithvi Carnival, and
It was
it
part
had
of
a
Super
multiple,
8
yeah,
as well.
Super 8, and it
Yeah,
had multiple casts. But I think one unique thing that stuck out for me, and of course, we had done long ago, we had done a play called All About Women, which you were a part of. And All About Women was also a big success. And it was again a fully female, mostly female cast.
Cast, yeah.
And all that. But I think one thing that kind of stuck out to me was that people were responding really well to seeing women talk like women do. And not just like the classical kind of portrayals. And that, it was quite uninhibited. And I think that was that was something that was inspiring. And I chanced upon this play by Alan Ball called Five Women Wearing the Same Dress, and it just sounded like such a great concept, about these five women wearing dresses at a wedding, at bridesmaids together. But what is the genesis of this partnership between the two of you? How did that happen? How did you all find yourselves? Because you all have also directed together. I don't
Yeah.
know in timelines whether you all had done that before Dekh Behan.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
you're
yeah.
right. I think
Before,
we directed
yeah.
together
We
first.
How did that
directed.
happen? And how did you all find each other in a group of all the people that you were working with? What was the genesis of this
No, I
relationship?
actually don't remember how both of us came together, but we directed a children's play called Natkhat
That
Krishna.
was before the Behan.
Yes.
And how did the two of you happen to work on that together?
I don't
Not
know.
sure at all, but it just. Do you remember the
No, I
answer?
don't actually. I don't. I
Ah.
don't know. Like, I mean, I'm
I don't even
assuming that you all
remember.
were already working together, which is why I would have
I mean,
come
we've
to.
we've done plays together.
Yes,
We've
yes, but
acted
as a
together.
unit,
As a
I'm saying.
unit,
As a unit, no,
Natkar
not
Krishna was the
yeah,
first thing that we did
yeah.
as a team.
Talk a little about
So
that. What is
Natkhat
Natka
Krishna is
Krishna?
a children's play about Krishna that was produced by a group of three lovely ladies, and they made a group called Kids Connect.
Right,
They got the concept to us.
right.
We put it down together. Labanya Ghosh wrote the dialogues, and we've co-directed that piece.
And you all don't remember how that conversation went.
No,
Like, should we work together
I have a
on this?
sneaky feeling it was you who pushed us into,
I
like, they
don't
would
know if
have
I
gotten in
was
touch with.
involved in
no, I
Natkar
don't.
Krishna actually.
Actually, didn't they
Did Kids
approach
Connect
you
not get in touch with
first?
you?
Yes, Kids Connect did get in touch
Yes.
with me.
Then they would have said, give us one or two
Or maybe
people.
they wanted you to do it and you didn't have the time, so pass it down to us. I don't know.
I'm just wondering how this pairing happened because it's an
I-
interesting pairing that has lasted.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
and
know
through
it.
various
And
different
Yeah.
I
things.
believe you all directed and did you? No, you all didn't direct
We
the Birbal
wrote,
No,
play.
we
we
wrote
wrote with a
Birbal,
Birbal
it's
play,
possible.
which
What is
is
it called?
again,
With Birbal, it's possible.
Right,
Is
right.
what
Which
we
was
wrote
also for
together.
Kids Connect.
yes,
That's right.
So you all started as co-directors, and then you all actually wrote this play
the play
together,
together, and then
which you
we've
all acted in as well.
not
No.
Birbal.
No, the Dekh Behan, of course.
Haan, Dekh
Huh.
Behan, yes.
No, and in the middle we had another association. We've also been writing some stuff for OTT together.
Yeah.
You all have written a show together.
Yes.
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 Yes. So and so
And
so yeah.
various other things that didn't work out.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. And then of course there was the Dekh Behan sequel, which I will come to. What I was what I brought up earlier about I think that the USP kind of being of Santa's Little Call Girls and hence Dekh Behan, and I think that when we kind of talk about Dekh Behan or when people have reviewed it or spoken about it, I think one of the things that really comes up is that like it really feels like you're in that room with your your female friends, and both of you growing up must have had those female friends and those relationships. So yeah, how did you use what did you use to kind of write women in the most natural way possible? What did you draw from? How was the process of writing women? And you were trying to do something different with it, so what were you keeping in mind?
Our friend circle,
Yeah.
we used to have like all the social evenings where we've had sat down and laughed like maniacs, where there were only women, because obviously the jokes change, the narratives change. What we talk about, the topics, everything is a little different when there's only women in a room.
And a lot of those women are in the play as well.
A lot
so-
of those women are in the play as well. Yeah. So I mean, I think there was a lot of, over the last, the bonds that we formed, new bonds, old bonds, and like the kind of stuff that we were uncovering about each other through those late night drinking sessions, or whether they were backstage of a show or a play, anything, any time that we would just find ourselves so like in a state of hysteria, whether it was out of laughter or because we're emotionally involved with someone. There was a lot of that we drew from, and those are the kind of jokes we were trying to write, because that's what resonates with us, right? And so yeah.
Yeah. And the setting is an Indian wedding. So, I mean, that's something that also, I mean, we've all had experiences with, and we've all have anecdotes from those experiences. So, yeah, I mean, I think we just poured all that
And
in.
did both of you have girl gangs while growing up?
Of course.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And are you still in touch with them?
Yes.
She's pausing.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah.
I actually, because since I've not been in my hometown for the last 25 years, it's been a little more difficult to keep in touch. So yeah, that main girl gang that we started off with, I'm not really in touch with.
Okay, no, and going to, in fact, since you spoke about hometowns, and so just going back, both of you, I mean, I know you're from Chandigarh and you're from Bombay, and cutting forward to, I know, of course, Chandigarh, and then eventually you were also working in the advertising industry, and you were working. Had a job for a very long time. You were working with WNS
Yeah.
and but how did you from your beginnings kind of make your way to theater? Like how did that happen? Is there theater in the family at all? Was there theater in your upbringing? Was there any kind of, how did you kind of make your way from your beginnings to where did the Kida happen? Where, like, so both of you, whoever, either.
That
So,
So, watching theater has always been part of my upbringing
right,
and family,
sure.
but being in the theater has not. I chanced upon theater in college. I actually joined a dance group in college for our annual day, and Vivek Oberoi was our
Wow,
director that
okay.
time. Yeah, and it became like once all of us were called and said that okay, now for the annual day we're not doing a dance, we're doing a play. So who all are interested? So it was like okay, whatever. It was FYJC, so we're like yeah, sure, anything to bunk classes. So that's how theater. I mean, that's how my first play happened, and
What was that play?
I don't know. It was some. It was an annual day play. Who remembers the name of
Okay,
that?
okay. What did
I
you
don't even
play
know
in
if
it?
it had a
What did
name.
you play in it?
I played young girl.
Young girl one.
Which is better than Tree, I suppose.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I had lines.
So,
I had a full crying scene. I remember. So it was yeah. It was.
and then you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it a lot,
And so then,
and I mean, and then it was amazing because we used to rehearse even in the vacations, and we used to hang, and we used to be the only ones allowed to bunk classes, and we used to be the only ones allowed to come to college in our holidays and do rehearsals and stuff like that. And then after that, after I graduated, I took up a job in WNS, which is an airline based organization. And a friend of mine, I was catching up with him for coffee, and he's like, I'm going for rehearsal now. You want to come along? And he was rehearsing with Ramu Ramnathan for Time to Tell a Tale. And I said, yeah, cool. And I went and met him, and I said, yeah, I'd love to be a part of this as well. And that's how it all began.
wow. And
Yeah.
what about you? How did you get into?
So apparently there is some theater kida in my family
Oh, there
because
is.
I've
Okay.
been told by my mother that my grandmother in the lawn of her Chandigarh house would make all the house help come out and learn lines, and she would put up plays for
Wow.
other house help to watch. So I don't know
Wow.
how she was putting this together, but obviously she had some kida, so probably that's what
As
passed
in,
on
she
to.
would call other people to come and watch that.
I don't think it was ticketed,
No, no,
but she
obviously.
would.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
actually
yeah.
But she
have a
would have.
grandmother connection as well. But
Huh?
you finish.
So she would put chai and samosa, I believe so. And aage garden mein, she would just make all the house help
Amazing.
learn lines, and then maybe my mother would watch it, or she would, just walk out saying what the hell is going on in my house. But yeah, there were not too
Oh,
many
it
people
could
watching.
also just be like Nawabi shock, like getting the house help to
It could.
perform for
Perform.
you.
Really
So,
could, really
yeah.
could.
शाम
But
को
I
बोर
would.
हो रहे हैं
I
हम
mean,
No,
I'm
so
saying.
but then what? Like in school, did you have
So
exposure to
yeah,
it?
there was
And
a lot of like I would do theater in school, in college, or whatever. But I think finally when I went to Maika in Ahmedabad,
yes,
is when we did Hayavadan on stage
and
in
you acted on that.
Natrani, and I acted as Mother Kali. Now. I don't know what happened. It's a small role, as you know, but in that, and it's really funny, and I did not expect it to be so funny. But that laughter coming in from the audience just wafted through me, and I got addicted to that feeling so hard at that particular point in time that I was like, what am I doing? Why am I in advertising? I need to do this again somehow. And then I joined my work, and then I was desperate. Somehow I wanted like this thing. So whoever I would meet, I would say, hello, theater, anybody? I would go sit outside Prithvi Cafe and wait and be like, koi dikh raha hai kya? Kuch
Oh,
ho
really?
sakta hai kya? Haan.
Wow.
But not that I was meeting anyone, but I was just like, oh, how pretty, how lovely. It must be so
And were
nice
you
inside.
watching a lot of theater at that time?
I was watching some, but no, I won't say that I've seen everything that was going on in those 2-3 years. But yeah, I was coming to watch. Don't ask me what, I don't
No,
remember.
no. As in, like it was a part of what you were doing. Like you were kind of consuming it.
I was consuming it, but I was also working really late hours in advertising and stuff like that. So I was constantly like theater, 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 doing nothing about it. And it's very funny. I think I was about 24-ish then. And my friend left a note for me on my work computer. Alicia, she left a note saying, Nasiruddin Shah started theater at 25. When are you going to begin? It's never too late. And I was like,
How sweet.
yeah. And I was like, haan, karungi, kuch to karungi. And then somehow I met this person who was putting up something for Thespo.
Tespo, yes.
Aman Uppal.
Aman Uppal,
And
yeah.
so I started working with him. And of course, we rehearsed for 8-9 months and we didn't go anywhere. Next year, I said, I'm going to put up my own play. And
Which would have been your last year to do Tespo.
that's right.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. And then we put up Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And I saw you. You were in my
Screening
panel.
panel, yeah.
Yeah. And then you became my mentor. And then you offered me my first play.
mentor as per Thespo terminology, not in life. Yeah. So just for context. So and that's how your journey started, where you were already working. What is your grandmother's story?
My grandmom used to live in a Parsi colony, so they used to put up plays and she used to be the prompter.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Aww.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
every year.
I love
Yeah.
it.
From what I know is that when you all both started kind of doing theater, whether it was with Ramu or when you had done Thespo, and then wanted to take it forward in your early days, what I remember knowing is that both of you all were doing that along with jobs,
Yeah.
right? Is that you all had a
Yeah.
job and which is how it used to be back in the day. But how was that? How were you managing that balance? How was that?
I mean, actually, we were younger then.
Just very long hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything was possible, yeah, at that
Yeah.
time. And especially
20s.
because the draw was so strong, you're like, koi farak nahi padta, karte raho.
Yeah.
Wake up early in the morning, go to work early, work till late.
I had like morning shifts, so I used to rehearse sometimes till like 1 or 2 in the morning and then sleep for 3 hours and then go. And sometimes I was working and doing two plays at the same time. So
Wow.
rehearsals in the evening and at night and work. But wow, the 20s are just so amazing.
Yeah.
You can do all of that. And yeah, and still party also sometimes. But yeah, not now.
And
Now
that
it's
and
tiring.
you at some point of time left your job.
Yes,
And why was that?
you.
As in,
You're a
so,
bad influence.
no, as in you left your job to kind of focus more on doing theater. So
So
how?
I had kind of
Yeah.
brainwashed myself thinking that so I met you in 2007. We did Virginia Woolf. 2008, you offered Afsane as Gulab Bai. And I was like, and theater kind of started picking up, and I was getting married that year. And so I said, okay, I'll just take a 6-month break from work and I'll
Right.
get back to advertising.
And the
Yeah.
rest is history.
And then and but how difficult was that decision?
Actually, it was very simple. I feel like we don't take ourselves so seriously when we are that age, and you're just like, हाँ हाँ कर देंगे सब कुछ हो जाएगा, but
But you were enjoying the advertising work or not?
no, I was enjoying it for sure,
Right.
and I had studied for it, and it was great fun, and the world is great fun, but obviously the draw of the theater was way more than advertising.
And then did you ever regret that decision? Did you ever miss advertising? Want to go back? Feel like
So, I mean, I was holding on to advertising in a way because the work I was doing outside of theater, I was doing some planning and strategy work for a lot of brands while we were doing theater.
oh you were doing okay
Yeah,
okay
so I was doing this like freelance kind of this thing. So I held on to that aspect till quite like recently, till about 10 years ago. So I was trying as much as possible to make some money on the side and to kind of like stay in touch with the all that management degree that was hanging around. Yeah.
and you never took a call like that. You continued working all through
Yeah.
and juggling. And like you once mentioned, you invented the hustle.
Yeah.
But how come? Did you never feel tempted enough to kind of give up what you were doing to maybe follow this more focusedly?
Yeah, I mean, sure, tempted, of course, but I've always wanted to, I don't know, not have the pressure of, how am I going to earn the money to, because of course, theater doesn't pay that well, unfortunately. I mean, if it would, I would have given it up in a lakh, but it doesn't. And, didn't want that pressure of, h- how will I travel to rehearsals and, how will I support myself and things like that.
And you were wealthy, obviously, so because this didn't cross your mind
No,
even.
no, it did in the
So
sense that there was like we had just gotten married. There was
rich
a
guy,
lot
the
of
rich
bills.
guy. There was a rich guy you got
No,
married
no,
to,
no,
was
he's
he?
not rich at all. He was not rich at
See,
all.
I didn't get married to a rich guy, nah. So I couldn't think of all that.
but so you're saying that never kind of like so the money was the prime
I
consideration.
mean, no, money was one, of course, and also I'm someone who can't just, sit and not do something. I have to like. Ever since I was a kid, I've done like multiple things, go to school and go for classes and things like that. So I always need to keep doing something, need to be busy, I'll go crazy if I sit at home. I mean, even in the pandemic, I was working. That's the bigger reason actually. And of course, there's theater, but theater is not always happening, right? I
Yes.
mean, you have that 2 months of rehearsal before you open, and then you rehearse only when there are shows and stuff like that. So yeah, so that is also the main one of the big reasons why I always had a job as well. And wherever I have worked, thankfully I've always been supported in, whatever else I'm doing. And, people have let me go early for rehearsals or shows, or take leaves for shows and things like that, for traveling. So, yeah, I mean, I've also done other things. Like I've been a voiceover artist for a long time. I've done that as well. So it's just the need to always be doing something.
But you've studied to and you've trained to be a professional psychologist, right?
Yes.
So and you are currently working in that field. But what do you identify yourself as? Like, because you are a psychologist and you that is your job, and you act by the side. But what do you and you said you've done voiceover and whatever. So what do you identify most as, though? Or is that
Jack of all trades.
so? No, genuinely. Like, what is the
Tough one. I actually ask myself that. No, I think,
a psychologist actor?
yeah,
But
why not? I
so,
mean, it's like she, her, so psychologist, actor.
no, but you're also writing, and
Yeah.
coming to you as well, because okay, one little segue is that your job that you did, and you studied to get into advertising, is there management involved in that?
Yes.
So it is an MBA that happens.
Yeah, it's kind of like an MBA in communications.
So yeah, so you studied at MICA, and you did advertising, which includes a management kind of degree, and you act on stage. You of course have written for stage and screen, and all the brand planning and stuff that you did at that point.
And I ran a store in the middle.
And you ran a store in the middle, which sold what?
Um, Odds and ends actually. Home decor.
Home decor,
Home
yeah.
Yeah.
decor. What did so
Quirky
so again,
stuff.
like the question I asked her also, like what do you most identify as in all
So
these things, because you all are both kind of wearing many hats.
I feel
So
like it varies. Like it goes through like a shift. Like for example, because suddenly this year has been very heavy on theater, I'm suddenly identifying more as an actor than I was as a writer for the last 4 years because there was so much writing work. So I think it just goes as per seasons.
so what you studied, the choices we make, of course, and I question that about myself also a lot. I mean, I graduated in statistics, and I have done advertising and marketing for post graduation, and but the stuff that you studied, which are the choices that you made in those formative years, psychology, advertising, management, do you feel that they contribute in any manner to the work you're doing right now? Do they impact you? Do they influence you? Do they help in any manner
Absolutely.
Psychology definitely does. I
in
mean,
terms of performances?
yeah, and in terms of understanding character, in terms of, exploring character, understanding the world, understanding other actors and their characters. So yeah,
And what
definitely.
about you?
Yeah, so I was just thinking about it. I think learning an MBA or doing an MBA or learning advertising or communications, it puts this little bit of a rigor of of organization, of logistics, of how to plan for things. I don't know how exactly to articulate it, but there's a lot of like strategic planning that you learn because of like an MBA program. And I think that's what I use, like especially when I'm doing my writing work. I do believe that I use a lot of that organizational techniques to kind of bring some method into the madness.
Must
Like
have helped you when you were a producer also, right?
yes. I'm not sure I was a very good producer, but yeah.
No, I suppose that psychology helps with the writing as well.
Yeah.
So now also, among all the things that you identify as, both of you are also actors. You wrote Dek Behan, so you could give yourself good parts and all of that. But for both of you, we haven't seen you act too much in other mediums. You're doing it on stage, and a lot of stage actors have kind of broken into now, particularly with the OTT kind of revolution, with series and stuff like that. So, what are your reasons for that? Why is that a choice? What is the reason for that?
No, no one gives us work.
There's got to be more than that. I mean, like,
No,
I'm
so
I have done a fair amount of TVCs,
TVCs, okay, yeah,
TVs,
commercials, yeah,
commercials.
yes.
I've acted in this film called Karwa. You'll find me right at the end. You know, I'm the end credit item number. I have also, I mean, I've acted in this film called Sam Bahadur, which is coming up in December, I think. But I not able to do longer form than that because of the job that I have, and so I avoid. So that's how you keep up the balance, right? I mean, because I also want to act and in other media as well. So I hence I take the liberty to do commercials and stuff like that, which is like 1 or 2 days work. But then, of course, when it comes to longer format, I have to give up that to kind of give priority to.
But you enjoy acting for camera.
I'm very nervous acting in front of the camera. I'm not yet comfortable. I haven't spent that much time in front of the camera to be so comfortable and be aware of, where to look and this and that. But as you know, we were very nervous before.
Yeah.
That's your camera.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
So,
So this is
Just
a
not
very
looking
small
at it.
and yeah, it doesn't
Not
exist.
looking- We're pretending we're in your
Yeah,
living
yeah.
room. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm actually very nervous in front of the camera, but so I'm
But
much more comfortable on
time has
stage.
been a concern
Yes,
in terms of
yes,
your
yes.
case is slightly different. There seems to be some trepidation. There's
I'm scared of the camera. I'm scared of it.
but you never been tempted. Is that something like are you happier on stage? Are there reservations? Are you ethically against the screen?
No, no, I'm not ethically against any screen. There's no such thing. I find that, I don't know, maybe I've not analyzed myself, maybe she'll help me. But I think that I feel I'm so like this that camera pe matlab nahi hoega mujhse.
What's that? Can you enunciate that? Like,
That's
Exaggerated
That's
as
why
a
we put videos also to reference.
I'm a little, I use my hands and face and all a lot, so I just feel like I'll just.
But you're comfortable when it's like known directors.
No, but again, I was going to. I can use words, na.
yeah.
मेरी potty call हो गई थी even when I came for your screening. I was not comfortable at all.
He just freaked out in the
Bro,
corner. I saw a
in his head he's
reaction.
thinking, oh, promo मिल गया.
No, I mean, he had to, like, because you called me on set, I was like, okay, I will try doing this. But and Sarang, I did one day of shoot for Sarang. I've acted in my own show. That one scene I've done, and yeah, I mean, but that also, I was like, kya karna, kya karna, kya karna? Oh my god, what is the line? What is the line? I had to pull him aside and be like, kya, kaise loon? What is this line? What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to walk? I was damn stressed out. I don't know what the hell. I don't know where the camera is when you guys are shooting, and I don't know.
No, but so again, I understand that, but is that so? It's not something you necessarily want to kind of add into your canon. You're happy with like she does want to do more of that, but
Yeah.
you're fine. That's not an agenda for you.
The thing is that I do believe somewhere I need to work on it. I just keep pushing it. Every year I feel like I say I'm going to send auditions out and then I don't. But I've promised a couple of people that I will, so I will try and do it.
Of course, both of you have written plays and you all have written a show together, which isn't out yet. But you've had a couple of shows release. You've written a couple of series that are out. I know Good Bad Girl is one of them. There was
Imperfect
Imperfect.
on Z5.
That happened. How has that experience been for you? Because that's been fairly new. You're writing. So how is that as a
So actually,
and also was being a writer ever on your
no, man,
agenda?
I don't know
So-
what's happening in this lifetime. Like, it's great. Like, I'm so happy. I never thought I'll be a shop owner. I never thought I'll be a writer.
And how did the writing thing happen for you?
So I was pulled into a project. Okay, Adhar was writing something, and he kind of via said, "Why don't you try?" And I started writing, and I didn't know squat about writing. So, but I started like feeling my way around it. That project never went anywhere. Then, in the middle of that, I got the opportunity to write Imperfect with Anand Tiwari. So they called me in. I wrote Imperfect with them. That was about 5 years ago, I think. And after that, there was a series
Was
of
this
things.
before or after Dekh Behan?
Before.
Before.
It was
Okay.
before. And then after a series of things that we kept writing, which didn't get made, then finally during the pandemic, I was also working non-stop on this script called The Good Bad Girl. So for 2 years we were writing that, which came out last year.
Right. And how did you get into writing?
I mean, a bit with Natkhat Krishna.
You all wrote that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we wrote
kind
the screenplay kind of, but not the dialogues.
Yeah.
But everything else, like we put the story together because Kids Connect just had a concept in mind. They wanted to do a play about Krishna.
Sure.
So we kind of started putting it together, and so I think that's how it. And then of course, Dekh Behan was the first, proper like start to finish writing work that I did, and then again, a couple of things with Adhar and Tahira. Of course, a few of those didn't really go anywhere, and then this show that we did last year together. So, and I think that also has like a therapy base in it. So, that's why they asked me
Your
to write.
specialization in that sense.
Yeah.
So again, coming back now to Dekh Behan Part 2. Dekh Behan, of course, happened, and you all wrote that, and you were acting in it as well. But how does it feel when you open that play? I don't know if you remember that far back, but when you open that play, like when did you know that this is now a play that works? And when that happened, were you happier as actors or writers?
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
You said you're not going to ask us tough questions.
Yeah.
No,
These
it's
are
just
very
stuff you
tough.
haven't thought
So you
about.
know,
I'm
in
just asking you to think about.
Dekh Behan, a lot of what Dekh Behan is now is because of the actors' input as well. To give them fair credit. Her being one of the actors, us, all of us actually, have put in so much more than what was there on paper.
Right.
So I think, of course, when we saw how much it was bringing the house down, I think that was when we probably started feeling like, wow, like people are finding this funny. Wow.
Also, there were a lot of sold out shows. There was a
Yeah.
lot of like,
Yeah.
So
It was
as
like,
writers, you'll be feeling like, okay, as
I think both. I mean, speaking for myself, writers and actors. But of course, I think people would, of course, praise the script because, but we know that it was, everybody's energy is into it. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I think as maybe for me, I think more as a writer, yeah.
what about you?
You are really making us make a lot of decisions today.
Yeah.
It's too much
Just
work.
putting things in perspective.
Yeah,
So
no, it's too many decisions. I don't know. I really I can't. I think the first hit was always the writing because it was also
because you're seeing them
new.
react to other people's lines as well, right? It's not
Yeah,
just yours. So
yeah.
Also, for
so
me, I'm so sorry, but for me, I mean, this was one of the first things that I had
you
written.
had put
So,
out there,
so I
yes.
mean, I had no idea, how I would perform as a writer. I mean, as an actor now, you've done this for 20 years, so you kind of, know. But as a writer, it's completely new,
It's
this
a
whole
very new
reaction.
experience. Yeah.
So,
Our
yeah.
maid is calling me. Our maid, Vijaya, is calling me for some reason right now. So
I
That is
really
so
don't know
interesting.
what to
Can we
say.
put that
this
on
is
the show? Can we
Yeah.
take the call?
Can we put this on speaker?
but wow, that was a nice domestic moment there. So no, okay. So now coming to like, okay, so it was a success. And then you have to write a sequel. Now I know that in the first part, there was a launch pad in the sense of Alan Ball's play. We knew that there's a concept that we are taking, and that that we are Indianizing it and making it, of course, very much our own in that sense. But now you had kind of written something that had done 100 odd shows, and there were these characters that people loved, and it was a play that people loved, and they were watching 3 or 4 times, which is quite unheard of these days. It used to be done back in the day,
Yeah.
when they were like big hits, and you would take the family again and go and keep watching, like Grandson of Bottoms Up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so that happened, and now you're faced with writing a sequel, which is now coming from no inspiration, barring what you've put out there. So how was that journey?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
I think we had days where we would just be like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
How do we get a part two to like
I think
something
we
so
had 4
phenomenal?
meetings that were just like this.
Yeah.
क्या करेंगे कैसे
Yeah,
करेंगे
how?
कैसे
We
करेंगे
can't. नहीं हो पाएगा, नहीं. So, yeah. And then I think once it so we, of course, we had a couple of meetings with the producer, and we had a bit of a dhacha in place of what we want the story to look like. And then I think we finally just again use the same format of just like unfiltered writing, the way we usually do.
And then of
And
course we
yeah,
edited it because there was a
yes,
lot of trash
yes,
on the
yes,
sheets
yes,
which had to be taken out.
yeah. So yeah, that's how.
But also the thing is, this time it was easier in one sense because we knew the characters. They
Yeah,
were all there in our heads.
yeah.
We knew the energy that we want on the page. We knew the kind of feeling we wanted, right?
Right.
So in that sense, it was a little easier. We also knew the kind of brand of humor that would work for the play. So thoda bata we were knew, right? And then of course we were building on top of that. Not that it was easy
Not at all.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you kind of both these plays, for example, you two of you write a play, which two parts you all are going to play, and then it is handed to two other women, say a Shikha Talsania and a Prerna Chawla, who are directing the play, and then you're handing it over, and so the process of a writer handing his or her stuff over is always a difficult process, but it becomes easier because there's distance.
Yeah.
But here there's no distance. You're in the room with whatever is happening. So how was that process? How did you navigate that? Was that ever complicated?
And no.
Not really, no. No. I think just maybe a couple of times where you can see that something's being misinterpreted is where you want to maybe step in and just explain where it's coming from. Of course, it can have many different perspectives, but I don't think it's otherwise we've ever had any sort of concerns. I think also because of the format and the way it's written, they also completely got it.
Right.
They got what we were trying to, say. So I don't think it was a painful process at all or
As a matter of
difficult.
fact, because this is also the second one, right? And everybody knew how everybody else worked. it became way more collaborative. The directors and the writers would always be like, "Ye line, is it working? Not working? Can we remove it? Do we need to edit it out? What did you guys mean by this line?" There was a lot of like conversation around what we were doing, on what the intent was or what the motivation should be. So that way, everything was discussed. Like we were constantly having a conversation.
And they've been very respectful of our positions as well, and because every time they want to suggest a change, they've always run it by us first and things like that. So I think that, yeah, it's been a great process.
And I believe that in the in the sequel there are a couple of men that are in the show, in the play. So how do you accommodate the male gaze? How do you write men?
You tell us, you saw it.
Yeah.
No,
Did
what
we
is the
do
process?
justice
What is
to
the
it?
process?
So,
Was
I
that
mean-
difficult? Was that
No,
difficult?
I mean,
at all?
again,
So-
see, our intent has always been to write people as they are, not as yeah, gender specific, gender stereotypical, because we've all had men in our situation in various forms. So just taking from there again, very organically.
And a couple more of the broader questions before we go into something like a rapid fire, which we don't really call a rapid fire here. But how good are both of you with dealing with criticism?
Tough question.
And I mean as an actor, as a writer,
It
particularly
depends
as
on
a
who the criticism is
Yeah.
coming from. For
right,
me,
right.
Yeah,
matlab
same.
ki everybody has a point of view, but
Sure.
beyond a point, like there are few people whose feedback I take very, very seriously. Sometimes, like I take a couple of days to mull over every aspect of what is being said, and then there are some people I'm like, theek hai.
But largely you can kind of be objective enough to be like unaffected by it.
No, I get affected. I get affected. Um, and also then I guess you just mull over it, and like Tyra saying, of course, it also depends heavily on who it's coming from.
What's the worst criticism you got for Dekh Bahan as writers?
So some people used to come and say that you're not really talking about anything. You're just touching upon things and moving away, and that's very frivolous. Some people said that some of those side conversations were missing, and so you're also like wondering like what. But apart from, I don't think there's like really been really bad. Couple of
I think that
words
was the worst.
Yeah, I think couple of words that.
But see
had
how
been-
well we've gotten over it. We don't even remember
Yeah.
our worst feedback.
So good. Those
Yeah,
coping
yeah,
mechanisms are good. So
No, but we did take action. I think a couple of words which someone felt offended by, we
As in, actually, what was
Took
really
off.
strange was I think the mudda was that we were not portraying women well.
is what the criticism was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we were being regressive about stuff. So for I know that there was a part where she said you are body shaming, and I was like, but we are body shaming. Like I'm body shaming
Ourselves.
myself. So
Yeah.
I mean that's not body shaming. That's just calling out, her own weight. And actually she's making fun. The character is making fun of her mother, saying she's overweight. She doesn't think anything.
Yeah.
So it was a little confusing, but it also like it was just saying you don't know women, like, and you're just writing these regressive women, and that was very shocking because that's the intent was exactly the opposite.
Right. Okay. Moving away a little bit into a slightly more personal space. Now, both of you are married. One of you is married to someone who is not from this field at all, and one of you is married to someone who is very much from this field. What are the pros and cons of that? Being married to someone who is an insider or an outsider. How does that work? We'll start with you. How does that work? Like, what are the pros
See,
and
the
cons?
pros are that you go home to a conversation which is not your daily work.
Right.
Right. I mean, even if it's writing or it's acting or it's theater, whatever, you go home and you're talking about something completely different.
I mean, you all could have been talking about advertising, both of you, but you chose to, leave that line. So
Yeah, we could
so,
have.
yeah.
That's why I left. Nah, so that
Okay,
our
so
conversations
a
are a little bit
conversation.
more open.
What are the cons?
See, my biggest con with my husband. Can I use this platform
Yes,
for
yes.
this?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh no, here we go.
He doesn't watch all your plays. He won't watch your podcast.
This is the problem. This is the problem.
So, yeah.
He always says he's not a big theater buff, right?
Right.
I have to force him to come and watch theater, which I find very troublesome. Now he has watched all my plays by now, but like for example, he won't come and watch next week because he's saying he's already seen it earlier.
Right.
Right now, all
Well,
this
I
is
have
problematic.
once seen him in the line of Prithvi for a play alone in a very unrelated play, and now we have to figure out why he went for that play. I don't even remember what play it was. I was like, what are
He
you
was
Yes.
watching
doing?
somebody else's play.
Yeah,
Okay. Wow.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
This is it.
Maybe there's the. Maybe he's not. He's not.
No, we have to
he's
get
not
her
your
to
buff.
Bollywood.
He's a theater buff, not your buff.
Yeah, that's what it
So,
is.
yeah.
That's what it is. But that's the con. Like he doesn't. Uh, cinema, like whatever, TV wise is okay. He's willing to watch television. So, but he didn't finish watching my show also. He is against me. Yes, you're right. I've got
Wow.
it.
Oh
I've
wow!
got
Okay.
insight.
Finally, this podcast is
yeah,
going to help.
what an enlightening podcast this is.
मैं घर जा रही हूँ.
What about you? What do you feel are the pros and cons of that, of having someone who's from very much the same field? I mean, of course, you have your psychology job, and that keeps what she's saying,
Yeah.
because you're in two different worlds in that
Yeah.
sense. But otherwise, what are the pros and cons?
So the pros, of course, are that we go to rehearsals together, and we can talk about, and one understands the other as well. There's that understanding of long hours of rehearsal and late night shows and stuff like that, and the need to party after those shows. The cons, I think, are all that gossip that I gather and I can't share with you
Oh, come
because
on.
of boundaries. But that's
What? Why? What? What
तुम
gossip
लोगों
can
को भी
you?
घर जाना है ना? चलो.
What gossip can you not share with me?
No, I don't like whatever my girls tell me. I don't share with you.
But you would have if I was not from the theater.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Oh, if I didn't know
Yeah,
them, you
you
would.
didn't know them, yeah.
Okay.
No, but that way my husband also knows all of you, na. So I can't share either.
You share if you want. Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
okay.
going to share.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this is the you problem. This is
No,
not about.
it's not. I'm being so
Wow.
nice and ethical.
Wow. Okay. So you, Tahira, you have a daughter who is now 10.
Yes.
And is she showing any kind of inclination towards the arts?
Only towards the arts.
Okay.
Not towards math or science or history. Only arts and sports.
And how do you feel about that?
No, I'm good about it. I feel like secretly proud. Of course, I'm very happy. She's just come back and told me she's had a very good audition for her school annual day
wow.
play.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And she's won a art competition last week. She's going for a judo match. She's going for a football match. Whatever said and done, in school, the academic part of it is important because sometimes we have to do stuff in life which we don't like. Number one.
Right.
Number two, the rigor and the discipline is important
Sure.
that you learn from academics. So while I'm very happy for her extracurricular stuff, and I need her to.
This is
also
clearly a very emotional question.
But and if she would kind of eventually get out and say that she wanted a career as, say, an actor, you would be supportive.
after she's finished, at least like post graduation, like I need her basic academics to be in place. After that she can do.
And your husband will watch her plays.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah. He'll watch her plays, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going into which is the quicker section. I mean, it's not a rapid fire. We call it the slow burn because
Oh.
I'm slow. So yeah. So just moving into that now, to as we approach the end
So you
of the
tell us who has
episode.
to answer.
Both of you all will. Yeah, of course, of course. All right. So I'll start with something which is actually a little broader. Now, you've been doing theater for how long in Bombay?
23 years.
And how about you?
I have to quickly calculate. 2007 onwards.
That's so 16 years?
16 years.
16 years and 23 years, right. What are the changes you've seen from the time that you started doing work to today in terms of the theatre scene? What has changed in the Bombay theatre scene?
I think it's become a lot of original work.
Yeah.
It's become more experimental in terms of formats and
Spaces as well.
spaces as well. Yeah, for sure. Like people are not just doing the classics anymore, is what I remember it to be, or written by these great playwrights. We're just doing a lot of original work and exploring.
And a lot more, there are a lot more young groups coming up wanting to do theatre with whatever little they have, put things together. And I mean, that used to just happen in college, but now it even happens professionally. And there are places like, say, Harkat and things like that, which offer space to these kind of groups, So that's great. And I think a lot more performance places have come up, and a lot more unconventional performance spaces have come up, like, restaurants incorporate performance spaces in their, place, and
Right.
that's great. So
So ever
that's the
since you
change.
said this is a quick round, we're talking really fast.
Yeah.
Did you notice?
No, it's not meant to be that quick also. As actors, for you on stage, since you'll have done a fair amount of work on stage, what has been your most fulfilling performance for you?
Oh,
I'm coming to you also, so you can think about it. So,
no, I don't want.
fulfilling. What did you enjoy doing the most? Which part?
It's damn tough, yeah, because I've enjoyed everything. I know that's the cliched answer to give, but I don't remember something I've not enjoyed, and I've done a lot of
No, but if you had
various
to
things, but
choose, what are you
like say for
proudest of?
maybe Afsane, because I got to dance and act, and I love both those things. So I think that was very fulfilling for me. And it was, I was playing someone, very Hindi speaking person that is very away from what I am. So I really enjoyed that.
So just for context, we're talking about Afsane Bai Se Bioscope Tak, which was a play that happened in 2008, 2009. It was written by Purva Naresh and directed by me. So that's the one we're talking about. You can look it up. And what about you?
It would be a toss-up between Afsane, in which I get to play an 80-year-old woman, her older version.
Yeah.
My God, we really go way back, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of...
That was probably the first play we did together, was it?
It would be, yes.
Yeah, because I think that was one of the first plays she did with
Yeah,
me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
so
Yeah.
Yeah, so between Afsane and now Dekh Behan, between the two, I think that would be
as an actor, you're
as an
saying.
actor.
Okay. Corollary to that, on stage or on screen, from the stuff that you've seen in terms of, and there's a lot of great female parts that are out there. What's like your dream role? Something that you saw and said that I wish I could do something like this.
Fleabag.
Great. Okay. Wow.
Fleabag is one, and there's this show called Loot on
Yeah, on Apple.
Apple.
Yes.
So, or even one of the women from the morning show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Apple is your jam, clearly.
Apple's my
Apple's your
thing.
jam.
Wow, Apple is your jam. Yeah. Uh, okay. Favorite performances of each other.
Afsane is definitely one. There are so many. I'm just like sifting through the years.
Yeah, even I'm sifting through the years. I would say Mindy from Dekh Behan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
Man-
your favorite performance of hers?
Yeah,
Why
I
is
think
that?
so. I firstly, I've never seen her in a role like that. She plays
I mean, you can say it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm
Say
just-
less.
No, I'm just
Less.
lesbian. Yeah, no, it's very nice. She has a very lovely, like, controlled performance. She doesn't overplay the lesbianism. She doesn't underplay it either. So I think, yeah, I think that would be.
I think Mrs. Danvers is mine. Because again,
Say more about the play.
so
and-
yeah, that's Mrs. Danvers is the character from Rebecca, a play that was directed by Meera Khurana, produced by Akarsh Khurana. It's a classic, the play, the script, and Tahira played the evil maid called Mrs. Danvers, the evil housekeeper, and it's again completely against what other work that she's done. So that was really, and she was being evil towards me, so that was even more fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and my last question, which to think about, is an Indian play, not abroad. I'm sure you have both seen plays abroad, but an Indian play that you were not involved with that blew you away.
See, I have an answer, but I just feel like I might be going into recency, but I really, really enjoyed the F word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, it's an Adyam play. You can talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm saying it might be because it's also the most recent in my head, but I just don't think I have seen a play that is been like directed, written, and performed the way that play was. So it's relevant. It'll remain relevant for a very long time because it touches upon topics that will just never leave you. They'll haunt you the minute you reach a certain stage of life. It's yeah, there's a lot over there that I think the whole world needs to watch. It almost helps you process your own reality. That's how
Wow.
poignant
Okay.
I thought the play was.
Nice. What about you?
Yeah, I have a really bad memory, guys. But again, just recently we saw Shikar,
Shikar, yes.
which I really enjoyed.
By Patchworks.
Yes, by Patchworks Ensemble. I really enjoyed that play.
But why? What about Shikar? What was it that?
I think it was a very fun and different concept. They all performed really well.
It's really well performed,
It's
yeah.
it's great fun. It's about these witches who live together, and how they deal with having to make a sacrifice, and one of them doesn't want to do it, and it's hilarious. And yeah, I really enjoyed myself watching that. So that's one I remember of late.
Great. Thank you so much, Tahira, Dilshad,
Yay,
both of you,
we
for
did
being
it.
on the show. Yeah, it's done.
And I'm
it
not
wasn't
broken into
that-
a sweat.
how
I have
long
not
was that?
broken anything in the studio.
Hi, I'm Dilshad.
Hi, I'm Tahira. We had a great time on the Adyam podcast, Unscripted with Akarsh Khurana, talking about our life and careers.
You can catch this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Binge Pods, or wherever it is you catch your podcast.
Don't forget to follow Adyam on Instagram and subscribe on their YouTube channel for more updates.